My husband's work wife turned out to be his actual wife. I watched her hands shake as she slid the photo across the table. Birthday party, pink balloons, a little girl with frosting on her face. Brendan stood behind them with his arm around Natalie's shoulders, grinning like he'd never been happier. June 14th, she said. My daughter turned 6. I pulled out my phone and scrolled to the same weekend. Screenshots of texts. Conference in Denver. Miss you already. Hotel Wi-Fi is terrible. She stared at the messages, then back at the photo. He was home that whole weekend. We went to the zoo on Saturday. The barista walked past our booth, slowed, kept moving. We'd been here 40 minutes and hadn't touched our coffee. The table between us looked like evidence from a crime scene. Bank statements, phone records, printed emails, 2 separate timelines written in different colored ink that matched up so perfectly they could have been traced. September, I said, tapping my timeline. He told me his mom was sick. Drove to Ohio for a week. Natalie's pen hovered over her paper. He was with us. Helped coach my son's soccer team. She pulled out her phone, swiped through photos. Brendan in a neon yellow vest, whistle around his neck, high-fiving a kid in cleats. I'd called him every night that week. Heard traffic in the background once, and he'd said he was getting dinner near the hospital. I'd told him I loved him. Asked about his mom. He'd sighed like the weight of it was crushing him. Which account did his paycheck go into? Natalie asked. I showed her my bank app. Direct deposits every 2 weeks, same amount, always on Friday. She pulled up hers. Same deposits, same Fridays, different account number. That's not possible, I said. He had HR split it. She zoomed in on a document she'd pulled from his email. Payroll authorization form, his signature at the bottom, 2 routing numbers listed, 50% to each. The coffee shop felt smaller. The couple at the next table kept glancing over. I didn't care. How much was rent? She asked. $1,400. Same. She flipped through a stack of credit card statements. And look at this. Gas purchases ping-ponging between your zip code and mine. Sometimes twice in one day. I traced the pattern with my finger. Morning purchase near my apartment. Afternoon purchase near hers. Evening back at mine. He told me he drove for work, visiting client sites. He told me he had a consulting contract that required travel. We sat there staring at 3 years of lies formatted in spreadsheet rows. He'd bought flowers on the same day for both of us. Used the same excuse about needing new cologne because his old bottle spilled. Told both of us he was working late when he was actually rotating between households like some kind of shift worker. When did you get married? Natalie asked. I pulled the certificate from my folder. April 9th, 3 years ago. Small ceremony. His family couldn't make it because of a funeral. Her face went pale. She didn't say anything, just slid a different certificate across the table. Hers. Dated 7 years earlier. Same officiant signature style. Different city. He never filed for divorce, she said. I checked this morning. We're still legally married. The hollow feeling in my chest spread outward. I wasn't his wife. I'd never been his wife. Every anniversary, every shared bill, every night I'd fallen asleep next to him thinking I knew who he was. All of it built on a marriage that didn't exist. He has 2 kids, Natalie said quietly. I know. He showed me pictures once. Said they were his sisters. She looked at me like I'd slapped her. My kids. He showed you my kids. The barista was wiping down the counter, watching us now without pretending not to. Another customer walked in, took one look at our table, and sat on the opposite side of the shop. Natalie's phone buzzed. Text from Brendan. Working late tonight, love you. Mine buzzed 10 seconds later. Same message, different phrasing. Stuck at the office. See you around 9. She held up her phone next to mine. What time is it now? 6:30. He's got 3 hours, she said, to figure out which home he's going to tonight. I looked at her across the table. This stranger who'd lived the same life as me without either of us knowing. Or neither. We sat there, paralyzed. My coffee had a film on top. Hers had stopped steaming 20 minutes ago. The couple at the next table paid their bill and left, glancing back twice. Natalie finally spoke. Monday through Thursday. I looked up. That's when he traveled. Every week, same schedule. He'd kiss me goodbye Monday morning, say he had client meetings in the city, come back Thursday night. She was staring at her timeline, pen hovering. 3 years, same rotation. My stomach dropped. I met him 3 years ago, right after his schedule changed. She drew a line connecting 2 dates. He told me he got promoted, new territory, more responsibility. I was proud of him. I thought about our routine. Brendan showing up at my apartment Monday afternoons with takeout, staying through Thursday morning, leaving for work, and not coming back until the following Monday. He'd said his job required him to be on site at the main office Fridays through Sundays. Long hours, easier to stay at his old place near headquarters than commute. Friday through Sunday, I said. Natalie nodded. He was home, coached soccer on Saturdays. We had family dinners every Sunday. The math was perfect. He'd built 2 complete lives with no overlap, no gaps, rotating between us like we were time slots on a calendar. Look at this. Natalie scrolled through her phone, hands still shaking. March 19th, 10:47 p.m. He called to say goodnight. We talked for 6 minutes. I pulled up my text from the same night. He texted me at 10:48, said he was exhausted, going to sleep. While he was on the phone with me, I scrolled further back. January, November, August. Every night he wasn't physically with me, he'd sent a goodnight text within minutes of when Natalie's call logs showed him talking to her. Sometimes he'd text me mid-conversation with her. Once he'd sent me a heart emoji at the exact timestamp her phone showed him saying, "I love you," out loud. He compartmentalized us, Natalie said, completely separate, like we existed in different dimensions. She pulled out a small box from her purse, opened it. Silver bracelet, delicate chain, engraved plate. I leaned closer to read it. Always. "Second anniversary," she said. "He gave me this at dinner, told me he had it custom made." I reached into my bag, hands numb, and took out the jewelry box I'd brought to show her. Same bracelet, same engraving, same jeweler's mark on the inside of the clasp. She stared at them sitting side by side on the table. "When?" "April, our 2-year anniversary. Mine was in June." She picked up her bracelet, turned it over. "He charged it to a Visa." "Same, I saw the statement." She pulled up her banking app, navigated to a credit card I'd never seen before. "This one, ending in 4628. It's not linked to our joint account. I only found it yesterday when I started digging. The charges went back years. Jewelry stores, florists, restaurants, 2 of everything. 2 bouquets ordered on Valentine's Day from different shops. 2 dinner reservations on the same anniversary date, different months. 2 plane tickets to the same resort, separate weeks." "He took you to Sedona," Natalie said, scrolling. "Last October. He said it was a surprise for our anniversary. He took us in February. Said he'd always wanted to go, made it sound spontaneous." She zoomed in on the resort charge. "Same hotel, same room number." I felt dizzy. We'd stayed in a suite with a fireplace and a balcony overlooking red rocks. He'd known exactly where everything was, hadn't needed to ask the front desk for directions, had recommended a hiking trail like he'd done research, because he had been there, with her, 4 months earlier. "My son said something last week," Natalie said quietly. "Asked why Daddy smells different sometimes when he comes home." I looked at her. I thought he meant work. You know, office smell, whatever. But he said no, like perfume, like flowers. She met my eyes. "That's you. He was carrying you home to us." I thought about Brendan's routine when he'd arrive at my apartment Mondays. He'd always shower immediately. Said he felt gross from traveling. Changed clothes completely, down to his socks. Kept a separate set of toiletries in my bathroom. Different cologne, different deodorant. I'd thought he just liked feeling fresh. He was erasing me before going home to them. "And I did the same thing to you," I said. "My laundry detergent, my shampoo. He'd shower at my place before leaving Thursdays." Natalie covered her mouth. I pulled out my phone, scrolled to my wedding photos. Small ceremony, garden venue, 20 people. Brendan in a gray suit, crying during his vows. He'd said he never thought he'd find someone who understood him. Natalie took the phone from my hand, swiped through the photos. Her face went white. "What?" She pulled up her own photos. Different year, same location, same garden arch, same flower arrangements, same setup. Brendan in a gray suit, same expression. He used the same vows. She whispered, "Listen, I promise to choose you every day, in every moment, for the rest of my life." I'd thought those words were written for me, unique, ours. She played a video from her ceremony. Brendan's voice, identical phrasing, identical pauses. He'd performed the same speech twice, 5 years apart, like an actor doing a second take. The barista approached our table. "We're closing in 10 minutes. Neither of us moved. We sat there staring at 2 identical weddings, 2 identical promises, wondering which other moments he'd copied and pasted between us. I left the coffee shop with copies of everything. Bank statements, wedding photos, text logs, jewelry receipts. The folder sat in my passenger seat like evidence at a crime scene. My hands shook on the steering wheel. I texted a lawyer's office before pulling out of the parking lot. Emergency consultation, possible fraud case. They'd responded within minutes. Tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. The apartment looked different when I walked in. Same furniture, same paint, same framed photo of us in Barcelona on the bookshelf, except none of it was real. This wasn't our home. It was a set he performed in 4 days a week. I dropped my bag and started searching. His gym duffel was in the closet, the one he always packed Thursday mornings before leaving. I unzipped every pocket. Protein powder, workout clothes, deodorant. I dug deeper, felt along the interior seams. My fingers hit something hard in a hidden compartment along the bottom. A phone. Not his usual one. Cheap Android with a cracked screen protector. It wasn't password protected. The text thread with Natalie went back 3 years. Thousands of messages. Photos of the kids. Voice memos of them saying goodnight. A video from 2 weeks ago of his daughter's school play. He told me he was working late that night. Came home at 10 exhausted. Barely spoke before falling asleep. I scrolled to this morning. "Miss you, baby, thinking about you." Sent at 8:47 a.m. He'd kissed me goodbye at 8:30, said he loved me, grabbed his coffee and left. 17 minutes later, he was texting her. My chest tightened. I kept scrolling. Calendar alerts synced to the phone. Jordan soccer practice 4 p.m. Emma dentist 2:30. Parent-teacher conference Thursday 6 p.m. All scheduled on days he'd told me he was working late. Stuck in meetings. Couldn't get away. I searched the rest of the apartment like I was dismantling a crime scene. Bedroom dresser, kitchen drawers, storage bins. I found a second wallet tucked inside a winter coat he hadn't worn since March. Different credit cards, different driver's license address. Natalie's house in the suburbs. Photos of the kids in the sleeve where my picture should have been. A folder in his desk drawer held insurance documents. 2 health policies. One listed me as a dependent through his employer. The other listed Natalie and both children through the same company. Same plan tier. I pulled up the benefits portal on my laptop, logged into the account he'd set up for us. His employer contributed $1,500 monthly toward employee benefits. He'd enrolled both of us, collected double, pocketed the difference. I took photos of everything with my phone, sent them to myself, backed them up, forwarded copies to Natalie. She called me an hour later. The investigator found something. I sat down. What? His expense reports. The travel he claimed every week. The hotels, the rental cars, the flights. None of it's real. She sounded breathless. He's been submitting fake receipts for 3 years. His company reimbursed him for trips he never took. How much? 80,000, probably more. The investigator's still going through records. I thought about Brendan's explanations. Business travel was exhausting, but necessary. Clients demanded FaceTime. The company required site visits. He'd shown me confirmations, itineraries, boarding passes. I'd never questioned any of it because why would I? He used the money to pay for both households. Natalie continued. 2 mortgages, 2 sets of bills, duplicate expenses. The investigator tracked it. Every reimbursement deposit matches payments to utility companies, grocery stores, car insurance. He was funding his double life with stolen money. I stared at the documents spread across my coffee table. I'm meeting with a lawyer tomorrow. Me too, 9:30. Mine's at 9. What are you going to do? I don't know yet. Depends what they say. I paused. Did you tell him anything? Does he know we talked? No, you? Not yet. He's supposed to come home tomorrow night. We stayed on the phone in silence. I could hear her kids in the background arguing over something. Normal family sounds from a normal Thursday evening in a house where their father was supposed to be traveling for work. I'll call you after I meet with the lawyer, Natalie said. Same. She hung up. I sat there holding the burner phone, scrolling through years of messages. Birthday plans, vacation ideas, anniversary surprises. An entire relationship documented in secret while he lived another one with me. The lawyer's office was downtown, 17th floor, glass walls overlooking the financial district. The attorney was younger than I expected, sharp suit, sharper questions. She listened to everything, took notes, examined the documents I'd brought. When I finished, she leaned back in her chair. You're not legally married. I'd expected it, but hearing it out loud still felt like falling. Bigamy invalidates the second marriage, she continued. In this state, you'd need proof he knowingly committed fraud, which you have. Bank records, duplicate insurance claims, falsified travel expenses. The issue is asset division. Everything you purchase together, every joint account, every shared expense. It's legally unclear who owns what because the marriage contract is void. What does that mean? It means you'll need to prove your financial contributions separately from his. Document every payment you made toward the mortgage, utilities, joint purchases. If you can show you invested money into shared assets under the belief you were legally married, you can sue for fraud and unjust enrichment. He kept you in a fake marriage while stealing from his employer to fund it. That's multiple crimes. I thought about the apartment. I'd paid half of everything for 3 years. Rent, furniture, utilities, groceries, thousands of dollars into a life that didn't legally exist. Can I get it back? Some of it. Depends on what you can prove and what assets he has left after Natalie's divorce. She has legal priority. She's his actual wife. The lawyer folded her hands. But you have a strong fraud case. Emotional damages, financial damages, breach of fiduciary duty. He knowingly deceived you into believing you were married while maintaining another family. That's not just unethical, it's criminal. I left her office with a retainer agreement and a timeline. 30 days to compile evidence, 60 days to file, 6 months to a year for resolution, assuming Brendan didn't fight it. I drove home and started documenting everything. Bank statements going back 3 years, receipts for furniture we'd bought together, texts where he'd asked me to cover bills because work reimbursements were delayed, photos of us at the apartment, proof I'd lived there, contributed, believed it was ours. My phone buzzed. Natalie. Lawyer says I have grounds for full custody. Abandonment, fraud, financial deception. He won't even get supervised visits if I push it. Are you pushing it? Yes. Brendan came home Thursday at 7. I heard his keys in the lock, watched him walk through the door with takeout bags and his usual smile. Hey babe, got tie, extra spring rolls like you like. I was sitting on the couch with my laptop open, documents spread across the coffee table, his second phone sitting on top of the pile. He froze. His eyes went to the phone, then to the papers, then to my face. We need to talk, I said. He set the food down carefully. Where did you get that? Your gym bag, where you've been hiding it for 3 years. His face shifted, calculation behind his eyes running through options. It's not what you think. Natalie's name is all over it. Thousands of texts, photos of your kids, calendar alerts for soccer practice. He went pale. She's my ex. She's been harassing me. I kept that phone to document everything for a restraining order. I picked up a printed bank statement, held it up. You're still paying her mortgage. Your name is on both kids' birth certificates. Jordan was born 18 months after you married me. His mouth opened. Nothing came out. Which means you never divorced her. I stood up. Which means you committed fraud. Against me. Against your employer. Against everyone. Let me explain. Natalie and I met yesterday. Coffee shop on 7th. We compared everything. I watched his expression collapse in real time. We know about the expense reports, the fake travel, the double insurance policies, all of it. He reached for me. I stepped back. Don't touch me. Please, just listen. I can fix this. How exactly are you going to fix 3 years of lies? He stood there, trapped, realizing there was no script for this. No rotation schedule. No compartmentalized excuse that worked when both worlds collided. My phone lit up on the table, text from Natalie. Is he there? I picked it up, typed back. Yes. Tell him I'm filing tomorrow. Brendan saw her name on my screen. His face went ghost white. She knows, I said. Your kids know. Your employer's going to know. Everyone's going to know. He sank onto the couch, head in his hands. I grabbed my bag and walked toward the door. Where are you going? Somewhere you don't exist. I stayed at a hotel that night. Corporate chain near the highway. The kind with thin walls and ice machines that clunked every 20 minutes. I didn't sleep. Just sat on the bed with my laptop, organizing files into folders labeled evidence, financial records, communications. Natalie called at 6 a.m. I told the kids their dad has to go away for work. Long trip. They asked when he's coming back. Her voice cracked. I said I don't know. What did your lawyer say? File everything now, don't wait. He's going to start hiding assets the second he realizes we're serious. She paused. Mine suggested we confront him together. Both of us. With legal representation present. My stomach dropped. When? Tomorrow. Friday evening. Your apartment. He thinks he's coming home to you, but I'll be there too. She exhaled slowly. My lawyer can serve papers on the spot. Fraud investigation, asset recovery, custody filing, everything at once so he can't prepare. I thought about seeing him again. Both of us standing there while his life detonated in real time. Okay. 6 p.m.? I'll be there. I spent Friday morning at the bank, closing joint accounts, changing passwords, rerouting direct deposits. The teller processed everything without questions, but I saw her glance at my hands when I removed my wedding ring and dropped it into my purse. The lawyer Natalie hired met us outside my apartment at 5:45. Mid-50s, gray suit, the kind of face that had seen worse. She carried a leather briefcase and spoke in clipped sentences. Let me do the talking initially. You're both here as witnesses to establish facts. Don't engage if he tries to manipulate. Don't argue. Let him incriminate himself. Natalie looked pale. She'd dressed carefully, business casual, hair pulled back. She looked like she was going to a funeral. What if he runs? I asked. He won't. Men like this think they can talk their way out. The lawyer checked her watch. He's supposed to arrive at 6? That's when he usually gets here on Fridays. We waited inside. I'd packed most of my things that morning. Boxes stacked in the bedroom. The apartment felt like a museum now. Artifacts from someone else's life. His key turned in the lock at 6:03. He walked in talking. Babe, traffic was insane. Accident on the connector backed everything up for... He stopped. Saw Natalie standing next to me. Saw the lawyer. Saw the folders we were both holding. His face went ghost white. What? He tried to back toward the door. The lawyer moved forward, wedged herself between him and the exit. Brendan Holloway, I'm serving you on behalf of Natalie Holloway for divorce, full custody, and fraud investigation. Additionally, on behalf of Claire Brennan for civil fraud, unjust enrichment, and emotional damages. She handed him papers. He didn't take them. They fell to the floor between us. This is insane. His eyes darted between me and Natalie. You can't just ambush me in my own home. It's not your home, I said. Your name isn't on the lease. Mine is. He turned to Natalie. She seduced me. I was vulnerable after we had problems. She took advantage. Stop. Natalie's voice cut through. I have the texts. You pursued her. You married her. You built a whole second life. Because you were suffocating me. He pointed at her. The kids, the house, the constant demands. I needed space. I pulled out my phone, played the recording I'd found on his burner. His voice, smooth and warm. You're my soulmate. I've never felt this way before. She meant nothing to me. Natalie pulled out hers. Same audio file. Same words. Different date. That's from March, she said. Yours? October. Brendan stared at both phones. His mouth opened and closed. You used the same script, I said. Word for word. The lawyer made a note on her legal pad. He tried again, turning to me this time. Natalie's using the kids to manipulate me. She's been trying to trap me for years. The second marriage was my way out. I just couldn't figure out how to tell her. Daddy? We all turned. A boy stood in the hallway. Maybe 8 years old, wearing pajamas with dinosaurs on them. He rubbed his eyes, squinting at the lights. Jordan. Natalie moved toward him. Baby, what are you doing here? I was sleeping in the car. You said we were picking up papers. He looked at me, then at his father. Why is the lady from Daddy's phone here? Everything stopped. What lady? Natalie asked. The one in his phone, work friend Sarah. Jordan pointed at me. That's her. The floor tilted. Work friend Sarah. Not my name, not my wife, not anything real. Just an alias and a contact list. A cover story in case one of the kids saw a photo. I sat down on the couch before my legs gave out. Natalie crouched next to Jordan. Go wait in the car, sweetie. I'll be right there. But Daddy... Now, Jordan? He left. The door clicked shut behind him. Natalie stood slowly, turned to Brendan. You had her saved as a work friend. He didn't answer. In the phone you keep at our house, the one the kids use for games. Her voice shook. They've seen her picture. They've seen her name. And you told them she was a coworker. I had to protect them. From what? She stepped closer. From knowing their father is a liar? Too late. The lawyer cleared her throat. Mr. Holloway, I strongly suggest you consult with your own attorney before saying anything else. These proceedings are being documented. He looked at me. Claire, please. We can fix this. Just us. We don't need lawyers. I have nothing to say to you. His phone rang. He pulled it out, glanced at the screen, declined the call. It rang again immediately. Same number. Answer it, the lawyer said. It's work. Answer it. He did, stepping toward the kitchen. We heard his side of the conversation. Yes, no, I can explain. There's been a misunderstanding. I have documentation. No, I understand. Monday, first thing. Yes. He came back face gray. They're launching an investigation, I said. He didn't respond. Into the expense reports. The fake travel. All of it. I'd sent copies to his HR department that morning, anonymously, with a detailed breakdown of every fraudulent claim. You reported me? His voice rose. You went to my employer? Your employer deserves to know you've been stealing from them for 3 years. That wasn't stealing. That was survival. I had 2 families to support. With stolen money, Natalie said. You committed fraud. Against the company, against us, against everyone. The lawyer handed him another document. This is a restraining order filing. Pending approval, you're required to stay 500 feet from both residences and avoid all contact except through legal counsel. Brendan looked at the papers like they were written in another language. You can't do this. We already did, I said. He tried to leave. The lawyer stepped aside. He grabbed his keys, his wallet, walked out without looking back. The door slammed hard enough to rattle the frame. Natalie sat down next to me. We didn't speak. The lawyer packed her briefcase, left business cards on the counter, told us she'd be in touch. After she left, Natalie and I sat in the silent apartment. Work friend Sarah, I finally said. I'm sorry. Don't be. It's not your fault. I looked at her. Do you think he'll fight it? Probably. Men like him always do. My phone buzzed. Email from Brendan's company. Investigation launched into employee expense irregularities. Pending review. Employment suspended without pay. I showed Natalie. She closed her eyes. How much did he steal? 60,000, maybe more. 2 days later, Brendan showed up at Natalie's house at 2 a.m, drunk, screaming from the driveway that we'd ruined his life, that we'd conspired against him, that we'd pay for destroying everything he'd built. Natalie called the police. He was gone before they arrived, but she had doorbell footage. The restraining order was approved within 24 hours. His termination letter arrived the following week. Fired for fraud and theft. Required to repay 3 years of false reimbursements. $63,000, plus legal fees. Natalie texted me a screenshot. He's done. I stared at the number. 63,000. That's what our lives had cost him to maintain. That's what he'd valued the lie at. I deleted his contact from my phone and started packing the rest of my things. I moved into a furnished rental across town. Small place, month-to-month lease. The kind of apartment that smelled like carpet cleaner and had locks that felt flimsy. I didn't care. It was mine. Only my name on anything. Natalie's custody filing went through first. Her lawyer had built the case around abandonment. Documented proof that Brendan had left his children alone overnight multiple times, telling Natalie he was traveling for work while he stayed with me. School records showed he'd missed every parent-teacher conference for 2 years. Medical forms listed Natalie as the sole emergency contact because he was unreachable during business trips. She forwarded me the filing. 23 pages of evidence showing he'd chosen his double life over his kids' basic needs. Judge granted temporary full custody, she texted. Supervised visitation only. He has to request it 48 hours in advance. Has he? Not once. Her lawyer found something else. A second mortgage on the house Brendan shared with Natalie. $40,000 taken out 18 months ago without her signature. Forged documents, fake notarization. The money had gone straight into his personal account and from there into rent payments for my apartment, dinners, trips we'd taken together. He put my house at risk, Natalie said when she called. The kids home. For what? To impress you with weekend getaways? I felt sick. I didn't know. I know you didn't. That's not the point. She exhaled. The bank's investigating. If they find fraud, he's facing criminal charges on top of everything else. My lawyer had news too. The joint savings account I'd been contributing to for 3 years. Gone. Completely emptied 6 months ago. $28,000 transferred to an offshore account in Brendan's name only. He set it up as a safety net, my lawyer explained, in case his double life collapsed. Insurance money so he could disappear if he needed to. Can I get it back? We'll file claims, but international recovery is complicated. Might take years. She flipped through documents. The marriage was never legal, so technically everything you shared was obtained under fraudulent pretenses. You have grounds for theft, conversion of assets, intentional infliction of emotional distress. How much are we talking? Between the savings, joint purchases, and your financial contributions to shared expenses? Conservatively, $70,000, maybe more if we include emotional damages. I thought about the furniture we'd bought together, the vacation I'd paid for to celebrate our anniversary, the car I'd co-signed for that was registered in his name. Every dollar a piece of the lie. The flowers arrived on a Tuesday. 2 dozen roses, deep red, arranged in a crystal vase. The card was handwritten in Brendan's cramped script. I never meant to hurt you. I was just lost. Please give me a chance to explain. Love always. I took a photo and sent it to Natalie. She responded with a screenshot. Text message from Brendan, sent an hour before the flowers were delivered. She was a mistake. I got confused and made terrible choices. But we can fix this. We can fix us. I'll do anything. Please don't take the kids away from me. I stared at both images. Different woman, same manipulation. He was still trying to control the narrative, still believing he could talk his way back into our lives. He thinks we're idiots, Natalie texted. He always did. I called the florist and told them to donate the roses to a nursing home. Then I blocked Brendan's number and changed my locks. The private investigator I'd hired sent his final report 3 days later. Brendan's work computer had a search history that made my skin crawl. How to maintain 2 families without getting caught. Best excuses for being away from home. Managing dual households on 1 income. He'd subscribed to forums, private groups where men bragged about juggling multiple relationships, shared tips on rotating schedules, compared strategies for keeping stories straight. Screenshots showed Brendan posting under a fake name, asking for advice, celebrating small victories when he'd managed to spend holidays with both families without either noticing. One post from 14 months ago. Year 2 and still going strong. Key is consistency. Same excuses, same timing, same emotional beats. They stop questioning if you're predictable. Another, bought the side piece a ring, makes her feel secure. Main wife already locked down with kids so she's not going anywhere. Side piece. That's what I was. A project. A game he'd been playing with an audience cheering him on. I forwarded everything to my lawyer. She forwarded it to Natalie's. Within 48 hours, it was part of both legal filings. Proof that his double life wasn't a mistake or a moment of weakness, but a deliberate, calculated con he'd been refining for years. Brendan's lawyer tried to negotiate, offered to settle both cases, pay back a portion of what he owed, agree to supervised visitation in exchange for dropping the fraud charges. Natalie's response was 1 word. No. Mine was 2. Absolutely not. His lawyer pushed back. My client has limited resources. Dragging this through court will bankrupt him and you'll recover nothing. Then he'll have nothing, Natalie said. Same as what he left us with. The bank completed their investigation into the forged mortgage. Criminal fraud charges filed. The district attorney added it to the growing pile of evidence. Expense theft from his employer, bigamy, asset concealment, identity fraud for the fake documents. Brendan tried calling from a number I didn't recognize. I let it go to voicemail. Claire, please, I know I messed up. I know I hurt you. But we had something real. You have to believe that. I loved you. I still love you. We can start over. Just us. Somewhere new. Please call me back. I deleted it and sent the audio file to my lawyer. That night, Natalie and I met for coffee. Not the same place we'd first compared notes. Somewhere new, quieter, with booths in the back where no one would overhear. He called me too, she said. Different script. Told me you seduced him, that he was trying to leave you, but you threatened to ruin his career. He told me you were controlling and he'd been planning to divorce you for years. She stirred her coffee. We're never going to know the truth, are we? About what he actually felt or thought or wanted. Does it matter? No. She looked up. I used to think if I could just understand why, it would hurt less. But there is no why. He's just broken. We sat in silence. 2 women who'd never have met under normal circumstances, connected by the strangest betrayal either of us would probably ever experience. My lawyer thinks he'll take a plea deal, Natalie said. Restitution, probation, suspended sentence if he pays everything back. Can he? Not without selling everything he owns and filing bankruptcy. Even then, it won't cover half of what he owes. I thought about the apartment he'd been renting, the car, the life he'd built on lies and stolen money. All of it collapsing. Good, I said. Natalie's phone buzzed. She glanced at it and smiled. Actual smile. First real one I'd seen from her. His employer sent the final termination paperwork. Officially fired, barred from rehire. Reference checks will show fraud investigation. She showed me the email. He's done in this industry. How much does he owe them? $63,000, plus legal fees for their investigation. They're garnishing anything he earns until it's paid off. I did the math. Between the company, Natalie's mortgage fraud, my stolen savings, and the divorce settlements, Brendan was looking at close to $200,000 in debt. Money he'd spent maintaining his double life, now owed back with interest. He destroyed himself, I said. We just made sure everyone knew about it. The courtroom smelled like floor polish and recycled air. I sat on one side of the gallery, Natalie on the other, both of us wearing the same carefully neutral expression we'd practiced. Not victims, not angry, just done. Brendan sat at the defense table in a suit I'd helped him pick out 2 years ago. Navy blue, slim cut, the one he wore to important meetings. He kept glancing back at us, trying to catch our eyes. Neither of us looked at him. The judge was a woman in her 60s with silver hair and reading glasses that made her look like someone's grandmother. She reviewed the documents in front of her without expression, flipping pages with the kind of patience that suggested she'd seen everything. Let's begin, she said. Natalie's lawyer went first. He laid out the timeline with surgical precision. Brendan's marriage to Natalie in 2018, the birth of their 2 children, the house they'd purchased together. Then the second marriage to me in 2021, the joint bank account, the apartment lease with both our names. Your Honor, the defendant maintained 2 complete households for over 3 years, he said. Not a brief affair. Not a moment of poor judgment. A fully operational double life with schedules, expenses, and fabricated business travel to explain his absences. He projected a calendar on the screen behind him, color-coded blocks showing Brendan's movements. Blue for Natalie's house, green for my apartment, red for actual work obligations. The pattern was stunning. Monday through Wednesday at my place, Thursday through Sunday at Natalie's, rotating every week like clockwork. The red blocks, actual work, were maybe 20% of his time. He told my client he traveled for business. Natalie's lawyer continued. Told Ms. Whitman he worked late and stayed in a hotel to avoid the commute. Both women believed him because he was consistent, reliable, and convincing. He pulled up bank statements next. Highlighted withdrawals that matched the timeline. Rent payments for my apartment coming from the account he shared with Natalie. Groceries purchased at stores near my place charged to their joint credit card. Flowers sent to both addresses on the same day, 20 minutes apart. He used marital funds to finance his fraud, the lawyer said. Drained their savings, forged mortgage documents to extract equity from the family home, all to maintain the illusion that he was one man instead of two. The judge leaned forward. Mr. Garrett, do you dispute any of this? Brendan's lawyer stood. Older guy, tired-looking, the kind who'd probably been assigned this case and wished he hadn't. Your Honor, my client acknowledges that he made serious errors in judgment. However, we'd like to present evidence that he was experiencing significant mental health challenges during this period. Depression, anxiety, dissociative episodes that impaired his ability to... Dissociative episodes. The judge removed her glasses. Is that what we're calling it? Your Honor, the stress of maintaining two households, the guilt, the constant deception, it took a psychological toll. My client wasn't thinking clearly. He was trapped in a situation he didn't know how to escape. My lawyer stood. If I may, Your Honor. The judge nodded. The defendant subscribed to online forums dedicated to maintaining extramarital relationships, posted regularly seeking advice on logistics and excuse-making, participated in communities where men actively encouraged each other to deceive their partners. She pulled up screenshots. These posts show premeditation, strategy, and clear awareness of his actions. This wasn't confusion. This was calculation. The images filled the screen. Brendan's username, something generic, forgettable, next to posts detailing his system, tips he'd shared with other men, congratulations he'd received when he'd made it past the 2-year mark. Someone in the gallery whispered. The judge silenced them with a look. Mr. Garrett, she said, did you write these posts? Brendan stared at the screen. His face had gone pale. I was venting. It was just talk. You advised another user to buy both partners identical jewelry so he wouldn't mix up which gift went where. The judge read directly from the screen. Quote, keeps things simple. They'll never know they're wearing the same necklace if they never meet. End quote. That was taken out of context. What context makes that acceptable? He didn't answer. The prosecutor stood. Younger woman, sharp suit, the kind of focused energy that made everyone in the room sit up straighter. Your Honor, the state would like to present additional evidence. She pulled up video footage. Doorbell camera from Natalie's house. Timestamp showed a Wednesday evening 6 months ago. Brendan walked up to the front door holding flowers. Kissed Natalie when she answered. Handed her the bouquet. Their daughter ran past in a tutu and he scooped her up, spinning her around while she laughed. See you Thursday, he said to Natalie. Love you. Love you too. The video ended. The prosecutor pulled up another. My building's security camera. Same Wednesday, 2 hours later. Brendan used his key to enter. I met him in the hallway and he pulled me into a hug, saying something I couldn't hear on the silent footage. He looked exhausted, rumpled, like he'd been traveling all day. The defendant's performance was seamless, the prosecutor said. Different body language, different energy, different version of himself depending on which home he entered. This wasn't a man confused about his obligations. This was someone who knew exactly what he was doing and had practiced until he could switch between identities without hesitation. She pulled up more evidence. Text messages showing Brendan telling me he was stuck in meetings while Natalie's calendar showed he'd attended their daughter's school play. Photos of him at a soccer game with their son while his location sharing, which I'd had access to, showed him at the office. Receipts for dinners with me charged to the corporate card as client entertainment. His employer is pursuing criminal charges for expense fraud totaling $76,000, the prosecutor said. The IRS is investigating whether he filed false tax returns by claiming dependents and deductions from both households. The bank has filed a complaint regarding the forged mortgage documents. We're looking at multiple counts of fraud, theft, bigamy, and identity falsification. The judge looked at Brendan. Do you have anything to say? He stood, slowly like his legs weren't working right. Your Honor, I know what I did was wrong. I know I hurt people, but I was trying to make everyone happy. Natalie needed stability, needed me to be the reliable dad and husband. Claire needed someone exciting, someone who could give her attention and romance. I was trying to be enough for both of them. By lying to both of them, the judge said. I didn't know how to stop. Once it started, I couldn't figure out how to end it without destroying everything. So you kept going. I thought if I could just balance it better, if I could keep everyone happy, maybe it would be okay. Mr. Garrett, the judge's voice was ice. You didn't keep anyone happy. You built 2 false lives and told both women they were real. You stole from your employer, forged documents, committed fraud, and when you were caught, you tried to manipulate both victims into taking you back. That's not balance. That's not love. That's control. Brendan's face crumpled. They weren't enough. Separately, neither of them was enough. I needed both. The courtroom went silent. Natalie stood. I stood. We didn't plan it, didn't coordinate, but we moved at the same time. Walked toward the exit while he was still talking, still trying to justify. Still convinced that if he could just explain it right, we'd understand. We left him standing there. left him mid-sentence, refused to give him even the acknowledgement of our anger. The hallway was quieter. Natalie leaned against the wall, exhaling like she'd been holding her breath. He really thinks he's the victim, she said. He always did. My phone buzzed, text from my lawyer. Judge is ruling. Come back. We walked back in. Brendan was seated again, hunched forward, his lawyer whispering something urgent. The judge didn't waste time. After reviewing the evidence, I'm granting full custody to Ms. Reeves. The defendant will have supervised visitation rights contingent on completion of court-mandated counseling and payment of child support. The marital home and all associated assets will remain with Ms. Reeves as primary caregiver. She turned to me. Ms. Whitman, since your marriage was fraudulent from inception, Mr. Garrett is ordered to return all funds you contributed to joint accounts, shared expenses, and the apartment lease. Additionally, I'm awarding damages for emotional harm and intentional misrepresentation. Total restitution, $94,000. Brendan's lawyer stood. Your Honor, my client doesn't have those resources. He's unemployed, facing criminal charges, already obligated to pay. Then he'll need to find employment, garnish wages, liquidate assets, file bankruptcy if necessary. But he will pay what he owes. She looked at Brendan. You built this debt with lies and theft. You'll rebuild your life from the bottom up, and this time you'll do it honestly. She closed the file. We're adjourned. Natalie and I walked out together. The courthouse steps were crowded, people filing past with their own problems, their own catastrophes. $94,000, Natalie said. You think he'll actually pay it? Eventually, even if it takes decades? Child support's going to wreck him. Good, she smiled. Tired but real. My lawyer said his company's settlement is non-negotiable. $76,000 or they press charges. He can't afford both, so he'll go to jail. Probably. She checked her phone. I need to pick up the kids. They're at my mom's. How are they doing? Better. Therapy's helping. They ask about him sometimes, but less now. I think they're relieved he's gone, even if they don't say it. I thought about the life Brendan had with them. The soccer games, the school plays, the bedtime routines, all of it real in the moment. All of it abandoned the second he walked out the door. You're a good mom, I said. I'm trying. She hesitated. You doing okay? I know this isn't the same for you, but I'm okay, getting there. If you ever need to talk, I know where to find you. She hugged me, quick, awkward, but genuine. Then she walked to her car and drove away. I stood on the courthouse steps watching traffic. Somewhere in the city, Brendan was probably figuring out his next move, calling his parents for money, looking for a lawyer who'd work for free, trying to find someone who'd believe his version of events. But his version didn't matter anymore. The truth was public record now. Filed, documented, undeniable. My phone buzzed. Text from my lawyer. IRS investigation moving forward. Could mean federal charges. We'll keep you updated. I walked to my car. The same rental I'd been driving since I moved out. Small, practical, nothing like the sedan Brendan and I had shared. I started the engine and pulled into traffic, heading back to my apartment, my name on the lease, my life finally, completely mine. The text came on a Tuesday morning while I was making coffee. Photo of 2 kids building a sandcastle, ocean behind them, both grinning at the camera. First real vacation in 5 years, Natalie wrote. Restitution money finally cleared. Thought you'd want to know it went somewhere good. I smiled. Sent back a thumbs up and a beach umbrella emoji. We texted maybe once a month now. Updates, not conversations. Her kids were thriving. She'd started dating someone from her book club. Normal things, the kind of life she should have had all along. I heard about Brendan through someone who knew someone. Lost the studio apartment after missing 3 child support payments. Working retail now, stocking shelves at a big box store, living in his parents' basement. His LinkedIn showed a gap where his career used to be. The corporate title replaced with nothing. I felt nothing when I saw his name. No anger, no vindication, just the flat recognition of someone who used to exist in my life before I understood he never actually did. My apartment was quiet. Lease in my name only. Bank account I controlled. Furniture I'd chosen without compromise. I opened my phone and scrolled back through old photos. Found the last one of us together, his arm around me, both of us smiling at someone's wedding. I looked happy. He looked like he was already thinking about where he needed to be next. I deleted it. The phone felt lighter in my hand. Not because the betrayal stopped mattering, but because I'd stopped carrying it everywhere. Somewhere across town, Natalie was probably doing the same thing. Both of us separately learning that the only person you can truly know is yourself, and that's enough.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and drop your favorite part in the comments. See you in the next one.